Willie D Live.
Yeah, man. Your family. Let's talk about your family. What was that background like?
So it's 5 of us. I got 2 brothers, 2 sisters. You know, we lived in a 2-bedroom apartment in Harlem, and you know, I grew up with the Central Park 5. Those were my friends. And so Kevin Richardson, who was highlighted.
All 5 of them?
So not all 5, and it was more than 5. So actually, the 5 were highlighted, but it was actually more. Stephen Lopez, who just got he had to register as an offender for years, and he just got his verdict overturned because he was one of the kids who pled guilty and just was like, I can't stay in here with these men. I'm 16 years old. So, you know, he didn't suffer the same fate as the other 5. So, but the other 5, Ruben Santana and Antoine, I knew briefly because he lived up on 111th. But everybody else, we all lived in Schaumburg Plaza. So Corey, Kevin, Yusef, myself, we all, and the funny thing is, them dudes was never in the park like that. And I wasn't outside like that either, but I was outside more than them. We got evicted the year prior. So when you think that things are really bad in your life, embarrassed, the marshals come and take all your stuff out, that saved me from a lifetime of whatever they went through. And I don't care how much money they have now, they'll probably give it back to not have to go through that situation. So, you know, it was crazy, but that's how we came up. You know, like my mom, she remarried, but she was pretty much a single parent the whole time. You know, it was kind of abusive at times and crazy. But when you grow up in a situation, you think everybody's going through that. So it didn't affect me till later when I had kids of my own, or I'm growing up and dealing with life, that I saw was quite different than other places and other people, you know? So, yeah.
So what's your earliest memory of when I grow up, I want to be?
So I had no idea I would be a comedian, to be honest. I'm an athlete, and so I played basketball. And how that came about, my father was very good. And my father, who I knew, so it wasn't one of those situations like he wasn't a part of my life, but he and my mother were definitely estranged. That's the best way I could put it without getting into too much detail. So, you know, the opportunity to go play ball with my dad wasn't there. But my stepfather, which, you know, it was a really weird situation to say you love somebody and you hate them, and I hate to use that word, but that's how I felt as a kid. I didn't like it, the things he and my mother would go through, but at the same time, he would take me out every Sunday at the break of dawn, like on Sundays, and he would beat me in basketball. We go out there and play basketball.
I'm glad you said
Yeah. I had to clear that up. Look, in New York, you'd be like, pause. But no, he would beat me in basketball. Like,
right.
And so until there was like a year or so later, like, I mean, I really couldn't, he wouldn't let me win. And I don't know if, I wouldn't say because he didn't like me, but I was one of those kids that gave a lot of crap. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't like you. You know, you did this to my mom. I always gave him a hard way to go. And so to beat him for me would have been, but he was good enough to where, you know, so I would go out and practice with my friends and stuff like that. So one day I finally beat him, and I'm telling you, and it's in my book, it was like a cage was unleashed. I became a menace on the basketball court. I was really good, and I mean, I played against people like Cameron and them lived in my neighborhood and stuff like that, and Mason, those guys I went to school with, some friends of theirs, but around the city I can go anywhere because I had that talent. So I thank him for that. He's very responsible for that. He is the reason.
When you finally beat him, what was his reaction?
He couldn't breathe. He was out of breath. I mean, I really, truly, like, because I knew he never would let me win. He was trying his best not to let me win then. And so my father, who lived out in Queens, I went to stay with him for some time and got with Kenny Anderson, Kenny Smith, and his brother Vince, who's the coach of Aim High. That's how I really enhanced my skills and got with those guys. And I was like the top 14 and under kid in New York City.